Welcome to today's session on the Disabled Australian Apprentice Wage Support, commonly referred to as DAWS. My name is Linda Green and I work for the Australian Apprenticeships and Traineeships Information Service. I have previously worked for TAFE and an apprenticeship network provider. A little bit about the company I work for. The Australian Apprenticeships and Traineeships Information Service, sometimes referred to as ADIS, is funded by the Australian Government Department of Education, Skills and Employment. We provide information and resources to anyone who needs them. This includes students, job hunters, employers and people working across the Australian apprenticeships industry. Some of our well-known resources include the Australian Apprenticeships Pathways website, the MyGain YouTube channel and podcast, and our inquiry service. You might already know about apprenticeships, but if not, some examples are carpentry, electrical, or hairdressing, which can take anywhere from 3 to 4 years to complete. Traineeships are typically shorter, taking anywhere from 1 to 2 years to complete, and some examples are business, childcare, or legal studies. Australian apprenticeships are often referred to as earning while you are learning. They are open to anyone who is able to work part-time or full-time, regardless of previous skills and experience. An Australian apprenticeship is a formal agreement called a training contract between you and your employer. The other major organisations involved are apprenticeship network providers and training organisations. The Disabled Australian Apprentice Wage Support is available for employers who employ an Australian apprentice with a disability. A disability can include mental health, physical, intellectual, hearing or sight impaired, and literacy and numeracy, such as dyslexia. According to the government, currently the employer receives $104.30 per week for a full-time Australian apprentice and pro rata for those working part-time. This assistance could mean the difference between employing someone or not. The off-the-job component is an equally important part of an apprenticeship or traineeship, and the funding available to the training provider can help you with your studies. It is important for you to mention that you have a disability so that your employer and training provider can access the Disabled Australian Apprentice Wage Support. As previously mentioned, it provides support for the employer when paying your wages and the training provider with your tutorial, mentoring and interpreting assistance. Apprenticeship network providers can also offer mentoring support through their in-training services, and these organisations employ a disability support officer that can assist you in accessing other available benefits. Group training organisations employ Australian apprentices and host them out to other employers. The advantage of working for them is that you get to have your own designated field officer to support you through the Australian apprenticeship. An apprenticeship network provider will advise on what type of documentation is required to validate your disability. It could be a letter from your doctor. An Australian apprenticeship is an entry-level qualification. An Australian apprenticeship is designed to give you the skills to do your job. Some entry-level apprenticeships or traineeships might require you to start at a Certificate 4 level. You must be signed up as an Australian apprentice for the employer and the training provider to be eligible to receive the Disabled Australian Apprentice Wage Support. Thank you for attending, and I hope that you have a better understanding of what is an Australian apprentice and that there are lots of choices and plenty of support for you to complete an Australian apprenticeship.